Hello, everybody. Good evening, all targeted citizens, people fighting fervently against the tyranny, global tyranny, and basically, agencies involved in murder and torture of American families and innocent families in other countries. It is Friday at about 11 p.m. Central Time, where I am in Louisiana. And even though I'm not feeling too great, I wanted to make a video, getting some information out. I woke up like at I think like 8 Central or 7:30 Central. Just my attackers were pulsing pain in my back because my grounding slipped off my leg and stuff like that. I I laugh about it because I'm like, what an understatement. I'm not, I'm being tortured so heavily. It feels like my nervous system's being unraveled. I can't see everybody who's coming into the chat room, but I'm gonna try not babble at the beginning too much because I've got some information that I wanted to go through, plus the articles that I didn't go through at the beginning of the week. I kind of wanted to get to those, and good news. I saw like Romola D did a roundtable with Dr. Carlstrom, Millicent, Dr. Millicent Black, Karen Stewart. I saw that. I haven't watched the whole things, and I saw that, and then I saw Dr. Horton did a video too. So I was like, well, why don't I do a video, later on tonight? Let's just, keep on getting information out there, keep on talking about this. I do want to say before I get started that any real targeted individual, making videos or starting chat rooms. I had somebody texting me tonight, Brock, with the Badge Report. He started a chat room, and I forgot where he started the chat room. I have to look at the text, but it's on a social media platform. But anybody doing those things, just, God bless you. God give you strength. Just, you have my full support. Any real TI getting information out there, and it's just becoming more and more. We're getting more and more information out there. So that's very, very hopeful. So I'm going to bring you guys back to the 80s and play a song. I'll try and I want to play the whole song through while I kind of get ready, open my windows and get in the chat room. But welcome to any of you guys who are coming in the chat room. So I'm going to go ahead and play that now and kind of get ready. I have some information that I want to go through tonight, and some of it's kind of funny the way it's presented. I want to show you all this guy's channel, and he's very smart. He does some very, very hilarious content, but it's also very informative. There's this video that's really important to our situation and the information wars. I mean, propaganda that these agencies are getting out, but they're getting it out through private security industries and stuff like that. So the kind of the pyramid and how it's structured and who's carrying out some of these tyrannous acts, they're private industry, but the people at the tops of these private industry still have CIA clearances. And in my opinion, I don't have like the direct documentation, but in my opinion, they still work for the CIA. They still work for the Pentagon, but they keep their clearances, and then they go off to work in private industry, and then private industry carries out these global agendas, and basically military agendas, which has a lot to do with our targeting and these weapons and stuff. So I'm going to play this song real quick, kind of get ready, take a couple of puffs off my electronic cigarette, wait for some people to kind of flow into the chat room. And I don't know how long I'm gonna make this video tonight. I was trying to get my adrenaline up, and that's something else that I want to talk about. I have a lot of stuff I want to talk about. I hope I can get to it all. Probably can't remember everything that I want to talk about, but okay. So I'm gonna play this song, and I'm gonna get all my windows ready and stuff. Take you back to the 80s, a little bit of Phil Collins. It's really quiet. I hope y'all can hear this. Y'all aren't even going to be able to hear this. You can't even hear it. I'm gonna find a better one. Hold on. I'll be loud.
You say rain delay. Patrick and his biggest fan Mary here came on. Days like
And there's
this,
an ad that I can't skip, obviously.
Fresh, cool Irish scent.
You look good today. And better now.
Irish spring.
I think it's at a better volume. Not really. It's not really at a better volume. But we'll listen to it anyway. Hey, Future Knowledge, Native Neuropterus, Nobody. Hey, Cal. I'm gonna let this song play. It's Phil Collins. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. People speaking out, the truth coming out. Moving forward. Moving forward should be our number one thing. Just however we can move forward in our own lives with this information. And I'm gonna let me kind of prepare my information while this song is playing.
I'm seeing your face before my friend, but I don't know if you know who I am. I was there, I saw what you did. I saw it with my own two eyes. Wipe out that grin, I know where you've been. It's all been a pack of lies. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, well I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord. I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, oh Lord. But don't worry, how could I ever forget? It's the first time, the last time we ever met.
I feel like it helps me. Like if I play music at the beginning of a video, it kind of feeds my brain with a good resonance, you know, like pleasing music can, I guess, you know, I don't know how exactly to explain it, but basically just change your brain frequency and make it harder for your attackers to lock on. So it just helps to like calm me down and get me in the right mindset, you know. I love it when the drum beat picks up, it kicks in. Is that it? It's a short song. I hope you guys enjoyed that trip back to the 80s. I've got some pretty good information tonight, and I wanted to go through articles that I didn't go through in the beginning of the week. Like, guys, I just want to say this right off. I know a lot of you targeted individuals, targeted citizens, you're color coordinated harassed. And I, like, when I was picking my shirt tonight, I really was looking, like, I saw this shirt and I was like looking for something else. I know a lot of you guys are harassed with red, but it's the only clean shirt I have. So this is not some kind of you know, color coordination stalking. So I want to kind of neutralize that at the beginning, because I know that's the kind of thing that you get with some of this gang stalking, that regular people wear red or drive red cars, so it's mixed in with the actual gang stalkers who are doing that to you. So this is a case of that. So I just wanted to say, like, if this does trigger you, let's neutralize that, because I didn't, this was not purposeful. I was actually looking for another color, because I know red's like a main color that people get color stalking. I did at the beginning, but I was like, so many people are regularly using those colors that I can't really, tell. So okay, guys, and hello to anybody in chat. I love you guys. I hope you're having a good Friday night. I was just like, man, I gotta make a video. I saw that so many people were making videos today, getting information out. And I was like, well, I feel like crap, but I wanted to make a video this weekend anyway. I'll probably, try and do some more live streams too. But I had stumbled on this really important video where the guy who's making the video, he's not actually talking about exactly what I want to talk about. He's actually trying to make another point with it, but it's very pertinent to how like propaganda in the media is perpetrated, and how it's actually, how all this works, who's attacking us and stuff like that, and what the government has done, and like the Pentagon and the CIA, is they get these these private companies and private corporations, and then people who maybe get out of the CIA, they keep their clearances and they work at the heads of these companies, or security industries, but they keep their clearances. And I don't think that they become ex-CIA or ex-agents. I think that they remain agents, but then they just say, hey, well, I work for a private company and I still have clearances. It would be bad even if they still had clearances and were not working for the CIA anymore. It would still be really bad, because they're still working for these agendas. So I want to show you all this video. It's really funny, guys, but there is some foul language and stuff like that in it. So prepare yourselves. I don't mean for this to offend anybody. It's kind of hilarious. So I'm going to show it. I may stop it in between. I may stop it every once in a while to show some pertinent information that they're going through. So it's hilarious. Don't get offended by it. It has some cuss words in it, but the information in it's so important, and it's funny. It's funny. So I think you guys will laugh. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show this.
Last night's statement from the 12th and the 13th, and now the 15 intelligence chiefs and deputies was followed by former intelligence professionals. I just want to highlight a few of those names and their accomplishments, so you can get a better sense of the caliber and the sacrifice and the service of these men and women.
So this is okay. This is a video which was around the time that President Trump revoked Mueller's security clearance, and so that's the issue that they're talking about. But the person who made this video really touches on something that has a lot to do with how the media is propagandized, how these people that are their agency, they're like CIA or they work for other agencies. They even will create private security companies to talk about political issues and things like that. and come on these shows, like come on CNN, come on Fox and everything, and tell the public how to think about political situations. Tell people how to talk. Tell people, like, try and tell people how to think about our relationships with foreign countries, and also tell us how to think about what the president's doing. And now I'm not, you know, everything that Trump does, I'm not, you know, totally excited about, and I don't think he has as much power as you know, the military-industrial complex. I think the real power is held, you know, in the Pentagon and the CIA, the military-industrial complex, and then these private corporations that have all the money. That's where I think the power is. So I really do feel like the president is doing some things domestically and with foreign policy, like he's trying to make peace with North Korea, trying to make peace with China, trying to make peace with Russia. However, his policies on Israel, no one talks about that, and we're gonna keep fighting Israel's wars. You know, we're gonna keep fighting in the Middle East, and nobody really talks about that. But you see in this, get ready to in this guy, the guy that's speaking, and I kind of just want to show it. I know I'm like talking and y'all haven't even seen it, but they'll send people in who work for private in the private sector, in the private sector for these security agencies to really rip Trump up on how he's like kowtowing to Russia, or how he shouldn't even be talking to North Korea and stuff like that. And they do that because they want us to keep living in fear. They want us to not have good relations with North Korea or Russia or China, because they want the populace to remain in fear. These deep state people, these people that have worked for agencies, and I think they still do. Some people may say, okay, well, they left the CIA, they left the FBI, and now they're working in the private industry and they're coming on CNN or they're coming on Fox. I think they remain in the CIA, or they remain in the national security arm of the FBI and come on. But let's get into it. They're talking about something it's not really the most important issue, but they're talking about when Donald Trump revoked Mueller's security clearance.
This is CNN's Jim Sciutto, and he is Sloptimus Prime. Rhyming.
Let's start with Greg Vogel. He's the former CIA Deputy Director for Operations. He was in charge of covert ops, and he's credited with saving the life of the Afghan president during a friendly fire strike in Afghanistan just after 9/11. Remember that.
Rhyming.
There is Letitia Long. She's the former director of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. She's the first woman to head a U.S. intelligence agency. There is the highly decorated Jeremy Bash, and there is also CNN counterterrorism analyst Phil Mudd, long history in counterterrorism, who joins us now, along with CNN political commentator Paris Denard.
Primed. We now reach the actual discussion, you know, after one full minute of being force-fed the notion that Phil Mudd and Clan, yes with a K, are some sort of super cool mega hero messiahs. You'll notice that this 60-second mind control blue pill can be boiled down to, good morning retards, the CIA is your god and Phil Mudd is your Jesus. Oh, here's some other guy. Discuss. No fucking way, CNN. The dude may abide, but I will, every single time and without fail, catch your molesty soy slap hands, establish risk control, and punch this bullshit right back into your thirsty faces. So let me do a little priming of my own. The difference being that what I'm about to show you is actually true and doesn't require me to say a single word. Ladies and gentlemen, and yes, I just assumed your genders, I now present the real Phil Mudd.
Philip Mudd, a former CIA counterterrorism official.
Not surprised. In one way, I'm proud. I am a proud shitholder. WAPs and macro leaders. Shitholders with slopers and slant eyes. I work for shitholders.
So what you said brought tears to my eyes. Pure racism.
A white honky from Norway with nigger. Slant eye, and we call the Chinese man a slant eye, and we call the man from Guatemala a spick and a wetback, and we call the black man a nigger. I spoke this on CNN. 30-1, the emails I got were saying, you speak for us.
Funny how that works, right? Now let's watch this interview the right way.
Phil, since you are one of those who signed your name to that list, the second letter coming from former intelligence officials today, tell me why you and your colleagues went public today challenging, protesting the president's actions.
I don't understand, Jim, why we keep talking about security clearances. This is not about security clearances. My peers on that letter spent our lives. I joined in '85.
So I want to stop it. I want to prime you guys the right way. The African American gentleman on my right, I guess all of our rights, he's awesome. He's very smart. His name's Paris Denard, and so the guy on the left, his name is Philip Mudd. He is ex-CIA in quotation marks, but he works for private industries. He still has his clearance. And basically, he has created a security company that speaks on political issues. Basically, it's a propaganda arm of the agencies. And you probably recognize him if you ever watch CNN. He's always coming in. He's always ripping into Trump. He has an agenda. He has a very, very political agenda about not cooperating, not talking to North Korea, not talking to China, not talking to Russia. He's always just dogging Trump about everything that he does. The guy on the right, Paris Denard, is actually a very logical, really, really intelligent person. And he calls him out. He calls out his clearances. And you'll watch and you'll see how Philip Mudd reacts and what he says. And I'll stop it on that because he's like using a talking point to trick people. So this is
fighting countries, the North Koreans, looking at other adversaries or potential adversaries, the Chinese, the Russians. These countries, one of the common characteristics they have is people who want to speak out because they have views that don't correspond with the views of government are either sidelined or in some cases, if you look at Vladimir Putin, murdered. This is not about security clearances. This is about the president trying to intimidate people to say, you're a dog and I'll muzzle you.
I'm not sure how long Phil N-word Mudd has been breathing the poisonous atmosphere of liberal home planet head of my own anus, but it was clearly long enough to delude himself into thinking that he'd get away with a full female believer tantrum about free speech. Paris Denard, speaking to this point later, will set off a career-ending Phil Mudd implosion, and we'll get there and you will orgasm, but to spell it out plainly, yes, it's really this stupid. N-word Mudd is arguing that a security clearance and the right to free speech are the same thing. I say again, and not to hold your hand because I think you're stupid, just because I enjoy saying it, the premise of Phil Mudd's argument is for real the claim that a United States security clearance is the exact same thing as the inalienable American right to free speech. By this logic, we all apparently got boned out of our God-given right to access databases of highly sensitive national security information. This left-wing racist, the only kind of racist that actually exists, by the way, does not is that a security clearance is a privilege granted to less than 1% of Americans. N-word Mudd is in fact part of the super elite, not the 99% of his N-word slaves, and his only chance of avoiding a short stop and a sudden drop is to make us believe that losing his liberal privilege is somehow an attack on the right to speak our minds. Ku Klux Klan? Ku Klux Klan.
We spent our career saying that we're fighting for the right of a million Americans to speak, and the president said no. That will never happen in this country. All of us will speak until we are dragged away. I don't care what I say. I don't care what John Brennan says. I have the right to say it. I don't care whether the president likes it or not. If it's Bush, if it's Obama, if it's Trump, I have the right to say it.
Again, take a look at what this discussion is supposed to be about, and then observe this grown man's body pooping and gesticulating at the command of its baby bird brain. Any parent can tell you that this lonely and insecure child is begging for its binky, and he's going to get something to suck on all right, but it's going to be a lot more Paris Denard flavored than the Brennan Pops he's used to.
That's the reason we wrote that letter.
Paris, let me ask you, longtime Trump supporter, who should the American people trust? Who should the American people listen to on this issue? 75 men and women like that who have served and continue to serve their country?
I'm not sure Jim Sciutto knows what continue means, that or he doesn't know what former means. However, I refuse to succumb to the fallacy of the excluded middle, and thus I know the truth is that CNN doesn't really understand words in general. I imagine that as we speak, Worst Journalist of the Year, Don Lemon, Worst Journalist of the Year, is flopping angrily about in Jeff Zucker's office, screaming who the hell wrote "Coon" all over the sets. Zucker, of course, reminded him that black people are not allowed in executive offices at CNN, went full Phil Mudd level rage racism on him, and, cue obvious foreshadowing, shouted, "Get out."
Who have served both Republican and Democratic presidents, I might add, or the president on this. Who's right?
Well, I think they are both right. I think that
The president's trying to silence them. How could
After spending a full minute of live television showed that allowing Richard Spencer's biggest fan another uninterrupted full minute of live television to rant unintelligibly, Jim Sciutto gives Paris Denard, and I'm not kidding, I counted 3 fucking seconds containing only 9 words, 4 of which are I think, before he interrupts and redirects the narrative. And who cares that Sciutto's own question was 20 seconds longer than the response to it. To put this in perspective, this is what CNN gave Phil Mudd. And this is what CNN gave Paris Denard at the same speed. In fact, you can play Phil Mudd's monologue at 20 times the speed and it will still be longer than Paris Denard's response in real time.
Well, I think they are both right. I think
that is fucking insane.
In this case, one has to be right because they're saying the president was wrong to remove the security clearance under threat of taking away people's voice here.
What we have seen since John Brennan's security clearance has been revoked is that nobody's voice has been silenced.
This man gets it.
Mr. Cohen came on your program, said whatever he wanted to. Others have come on and said exactly what they want to. They continue to be contributors on cable news. They continue to tweet as they wish. Phil Mudd came on this program tonight and said he won't be silenced. So the idea that somehow revoking their security clearance is going to silence them is not true. So they're still talking.
Why is the president doing it? To what end?
I think what we have to look at is the idea of norms and laws and privileges and rights. And these are all getting confused under this administration with people thinking that because something was a norm means that it's law. That's not the case. A lot of these people that have these security clearances, and this is the secret in the swampy Washington, D.C., they have them and they keep them because it's profitable for them after they leave government. Because if you have a security clearance...
Ever seen a parent take candy away from a child?
I want to stop it here because that's really important. This made this video, John Ward. He's touching on the subject kind of in a different angle, where a lot of these people who keep their security clearances in quotation marks, but we know how the deep state works. When somebody leaves the CIA in quotation marks, and they industry to carry out the brain's not doing deep state industrial complex, they don't stop working for the CIA. They don't stop working for the Pentagon. And in other countries, it's happening too, where they don't stop working for those intelligence agencies, even when they go into private industry. So Trump taking away Mueller's security clearance is seen. They're talking about it on the surface, and that's what I see a lot. Like I see that a lot in alternative media. They talk about things, but it's way more corrupt than that. These security clearances are kept because these men keep fighting for that global agenda, that deep state agenda. So if Trump's going to just take away security clearances, he's actually cutting into the power of the deep state. He's actually saying, well, I'm going to take away that security clearance, but with these agencies, they're trying to keep those clearances because they're still working for those agencies. So it's this huge thing that people like Mudd are coming out and they're like, it's a right. It's a right because they're still working. They're still doing these deep state tactics. They're still and I'm having trouble with words tonight, guys, so forgive me. But they're still basically it's still operations. It's still intelligence agency operations. So for Donald Trump to come in and take security clearances away when it's part of these intel operations that they go into private industries is like this huge deal where they're trying to come out and kind of sway it away and say it's a right that we have if we ever worked for an intelligence agency. There's another point I want to make, but let them continue. Let's let them continue.
Especially high-level security clearances, your contracts and your consulting give pay you a lot more money because of the access that you have. I hope the president continues to do this, and I hope he adds Omarosa to the list, because if she has a clearance, she too, because of her actions, should have it revoked.
Well, I don't know if I put Omarosa in the same category as the 75 people who signed those letters, but Phil Mudd, I imagine you wanted to react.
When I am requested to see your board, let me ask you one question. How much do you think I'm paid to do that at the request of the U.S. government? Give me one answer, and you got 10 seconds.
Chum, you motherfucker. It is on. We're coming at you with everything we got. It's on, so you better get your head out of your ass and be ready for everything. You are fucking dead.
So dumb. You have any idea how weak you just made us look?
Appreciate, if you will, how hilarious it is that a fucking late-night pothead comedy understands what meltdowns mean better than a supposed 25-year veteran of the CIA. I have witnessed my fair share of self-immolations in my life, but revoking Brennan's security clearance was an obvious and intentional message from Trump to the swamp. And this clown, supposedly an expert in espionage, took the bait hook, line, and sinker, slurped 200 yards of high-tension wire all the way back to land, twerked onto the fatal shore, and sucked the fisherman's on national television. I am not imaginative enough to comprehend this level of retardation, and frankly, I am shocked Phil Mudd has managed to survive this long without child protectors on his wall sockets. As for the whole "you got 10 seconds" PMSing, well, it's hard to act tough when you need to hire Clantifa interns to put Mr. Yuck stickers on the small stones in your driveway so you don't accidentally eat them.
How much?
I'll ask you a question. How much are you paid for your
Answer the question.
Contracting gig? For being a
I have no contracts
official.
with the U.S. government that pay money.
I'm not talking.
Zero.
Yeah, listen.
I've asked to offer advice to the U.S. government.
You see, and you saw what he said. He said, I have no contracts with the U.S. government, because that's not how they do it anymore. They have their own security firms and everything like that to come in and push propaganda. So he's telling the truth when he's saying he has no contracts with the U.S. government. But that's not how it's done anymore. So he thinks that he's going to trick everybody. He's going to trick the American people by just saying, I don't have any contracts with the U.S. government. But that's not, and that's not what Paris Denard is talking about. He's talking about private industry, which is the new way. It's the new propaganda arm and operations arm of these agencies, is private industry. You know, you look at Blackwater, and then these contractors that are targeting us, that are hitting us with these directed energy weapons, and then there's all these security industries who actually train people to speak on political topics. So they're training they're training like CIA agents and people that work in the military industrial complex and these private industries to talk about politics, to propagandize and push their beliefs and to cover up national security issues in quotation marks all over mainstream news. So this is like another kind of not angle, but another layer to like something like Project Mockingbird, because all of those things have become more complicated and obfuscated and just more. I'm trying to think of another word, but my brain's not working. But they're adding another layer to make it very complicated, so that the American people are confused by it and don't really see it happening. You know.
You know that if your mouth wasn't shedding its uterine lining so loudly. Also, you could probably get a sponsorship from MaxiPad to replace those lost kickbacks.
That talking about General consultant and a contractor. The consulting firms that they form and that you all get is because you get more money when having a consultant for having the security clearance.
That is
act like that doesn't happen.
I have zero consulting relationships with the U.S. government. Zero.
I'm not talking, Phil, that's a good talking point. I'm not talking about relationships with the government. I'm talking about in the private sector. When you have a security clearance,
I have
and you
zero
keep it,
relationships with the private sector that involve my security clearance.
Really? That's weird, because on your website, philmudd.com, wait, what the fuck? I'm a proud shit on this landing page. But I do have time for your bio, which happens to have this odd paragraph, and I quote, Mr. Mudd is the president of Mudd Management, a company specializing in security consulting, analytic training, and public security. Is a senior fellow at the New America Foundation and the George Washington University's Homeland Security Policy Institute. He now serves as senior global advisor to Oxford analytics firm specializing in advising multinational companies. So cool, you're blatantly lying. You also have this punch to your own face final bit. Mr. Mudd graduated cum laude from Villanova University with a BA in English Literature, and he earned an MA in English Literature from the University of Virginia. He speaks French.
I get $0.
Okay, so hold on one second, guys. I want to actually go to that page and go through it. Let's see, I got it pulled up right here. This is Philip Mudd's bio, because I wanted to talk about this a little bit more, and then I'll finish the video. I find this guy hilarious. It's really interesting. Right now, my neighbor, and this is kind of a cut into, this isn't really what I planned on talking about, but my neighbor is like doing something with my pipes on the side of my wall and making this noise. But I'm just going to ignore that. He hasn't been doing it lately. He's doing it tonight. It's weird. But let me get undistracted here. I'm going to get undistracted here so I can go through this information. And I want you guys to realize that Philip Mudd is just one of these people. He's just one of these people in America who are trained and are training people to think about national security issues and hide certain things that they don't want them to know, or slant things a certain way of where they want them to vote. So they're heavily involved in politics. They're basically agents of the CIA, the Pentagon, the military-industrial complex, coming on and spouting propaganda to tell citizens how to think and how to vote and how to think about national security issues, and hide things like what's happening to us, to hide them from citizens. So I just want to read his whole bio here, and just know that he's just these people who does this with the security firms. So Philip Mudd joined the Central Intelligence Agency in 1985 as an analyst specializing in South Asia and then the Middle East. He began work in the CIA's Counterterrorist Center in 1992, and then served on the National Intelligence Council as the Deputy National Intelligence Officer for the Near East and South Asia, 1995 to 1998. After a tour as an executive assistant in the front office of the agency's analytic arm, Mr. Mudd went on to manage Iraq analysis at the CIA from 1999 to 2001. Mr. Mudd began a policy assignment at the White House in early 2001, detailed from CIA to serve as the Director for Gulf Affairs on the White House National Security Council. He left after the September 11 attacks for a short assignment as the CIA member of a small diplomatic team that helped piece together a new government for Afghanistan. And he returned to CIA in early 2002 to become second in charge of counterterrorism analysis in the Counterterrorist Center. He was promoted to the position of Deputy Director of the Center in 2003 and served there until 2005. So you see from his background that he's heavily involved. He's probably involved in the Project for the New American Century. He's involved with these programs that are doing these, they call them counter-terrorist efforts. We know that it's really domestic terrorism and false flagging. So he's heavily involved in all that when he's trying to go over to Afghanistan and create a new government there. So, this is a guy who probably knows exactly who carried out 9/11 and exactly why, and he's pushing agendas of the military-industrial complex so they can get more control over our country. And there's many people like him in other countries doing that to those countries too. So I'm going to keep reading. At the establishment of the Federal Bureau of Investigation's National Security Branch in 2005, FBI Director Mueller appointed Mr. Mudd to serve as the branch's first ever deputy director. He later became the FBI's senior intelligence advisor. He resigned from government service in March 2010. But as we know, he resigned from government service in March 2010. But we know there's this huge private industry and security contractors, and they keep working for the military-industrial complex. They keep working for these agencies, for naval intelligence, army intelligence, you know, whatever the Pentagon's doing, whatever DARPA is doing, whatever the DIA is doing, whatever the CIA is doing. You know, so that's how it's working now. It's not just working where these agencies are pushing these agendas and then private sector is separated from those. Private sector are those industries, and people keep their clearances. They keep their clearances and they say, oh, well, I don't belong to the CIA anymore. I'm ex-CIA and now work in private industry consulting. I do security consulting on how to speak about national security issues and all this stuff. When not my uninformed opinion, it's a very informed opinion when you're being, you know, nailed with microwave weapons from private contractors who do work for the CIA and the Pentagon, that they still work for these agencies. They just say that they don't. So I don't know if y'all can hear that, but it's like my sink in the front. My neighbor is doing something on his side of the wall that's making this really loud sound. I don't know why he's doing it tonight. I better just ignore it because he'll keep doing it. If I talk about it on a video, he'll keep doing it, thinking that it's bothering me. Weird, because I haven't really heard much from him. He's kind of run his water and hit the wall and stuff while I go over there a couple of times, but I just try and ignore it because he's an idiot. Like, he's just an idiot who knows nothing about what he's doing, and he's just told to, you know, do noise campaigns and shit. So let me continue. Let me get undistracted again. I don't even think that's a real word, but I'm going to use that unreal word right now so I can continue. So Mr. Mudd is the recipient of numerous CIA awards and commendations, including the Director's Award, the George H.W. Bush Award for Excellence in Counterterrorism, the CIA's Distinguished Intelligence Medal, and the Distinguished Career Intelligence Medal. The first ever William Langer Award for Excellence in Analysis, and numerous exceptional performance awards. I think they meant to say awards. During his assignments at CIA and the FBI, Mr. Mudd has commented about terrorism in open and closed congressional testimony. And he has been featured by ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, Fox, BBC, MSNBC, Al Jazeera, NPR, the New York Times, and the Washington Post. Mr. Mudd has written in Newsweek, the Wall Street Journal, the Policy, the Washington Post, the Journal of the U.S. Military Academy's Terrorism Center. Look at all those mainstream news agencies that he's written for and talked to, and also closed congressional testimony. So he's not only an arm of these agencies in the private sector trying to tell the American people what to think. No. He's also trying to tell Congress how to think about national security issues. And it's complete agenda behind him. The agenda of the Pentagon, the agenda of the CIA, the agenda of the deep state. You know, and many other countries have guys just like him, but they're making it complicated where he can say, I don't have contracts with the government. He can say that honestly, because technically, no, he doesn't have contracts with the government, with the US government. He has contracts with private industry where he's getting orders under the table from the CIA and the Pentagon and those deep state agencies. But they don't broadcast those. They don't broadcast those connections. So I don't think that any of these people who say they're like ex-CIA, they keep their clearances and then they go work for private industry or create their own security consulting firm like Mr. Mudd, I don't think they ever do leave the CIA or the FBI. They stay in those and they serve those agencies, but they technically say, hey, I don't belong to that agency anymore, so that they can have an appearance, just the appearance of some kind of independent thought, which doesn't exist, you know? Okay, so I'll read that part that he read in the video, just again, because it's very important. Mr. Mudd is the president of Mudd Management, a company specializing in security consulting, analytic training, and public speaking about security issues. He is a senior fellow at the New American Foundation and the George Washington University's Homeland Security Policy Institute. We know that you know, all these, there's like a Colorado University of Homeland Security Policy Institute. There's all these Homeland Security policy institutes in America, and they're the people who like talk about what they're trying to do with DHS fusion centers, probably very, very secretly talking about what they're trying to do with you know, neuroweapons and with disrupting groups and things like that with these new directed energy weapon systems. Well, they're not very new, but you know, directed energy weapon systems and neuroweapon systems, remote microwaves. So he's probably involved in a lot of that talk. So I mean, he's complete bullshit. When he goes on CNN, he's just lying, and he's trying to get the American people. You know, if Trump is doing something good, which Trump is doing some good things. He's doing some good things domestically, and he's doing some good things like with our relationship with North Korea, China, and Russia, which are bad. Those things are bad for the deep state because they want us to live in fear. They don't want us to not be afraid. Like, you know, Donald Trump's trying to make peace with North Korea, and he's done a pretty good job, and it's kind of disarmed some of their nuclear weapons. But the deep state doesn't want the American citizens, and other countries don't want their citizens to stop being afraid that North Korea is going to, you know, is going to invade our homes and shoot nuclear weapons at us. This is a fear-based agenda where they need us all to be in fear. They need us all to be thinking on a different level to get to accomplish these New World Order goals that they're going for. Okay, so he now serves as senior global advisor to Oxford Analytica, a British-based firm specializing in advising multinational companies. He sits on the advisory board of the National Counterterrorism Center and for the Director of National Intelligence, and he serves on the Aspen Institute's Homeland Security Group. Now, I want to go, you know, because I didn't see that part where he serves on the Aspen Institute's Homeland Security Group, and there's a great quote on Dr. Eric Karlstrom's website from the Aspen Institute's Homeland Security Group. But that's basically a security group that is very involved in the creation of the DHS fusion centers, InfraGard, those things, and targeting individual citizens. So this guy has everything to do with our situation, and he speaks on CNN telling the American people how to think, you know. So Mr. Mudd graduated cum laude from Villanova University with a BA in English Literature in 1983, and he earned an MA in English Literature from the University of Virginia in 1984. He speaks French. Whatever. Let me look that quote up. Let me see if I can find it quick. If I can find it quick, then I'll read it. It's a quote from the Aspen Institute for Homeland Security. Let's go. Gang stalking. Yeah, I need to just kind of, I'm going to slow down and go through this information. I'm always kind of like, I want to get through this information and go to this, go to that, and it kind of winds me up when I'm already very winded up, you know, for my nervous system being basically unraveled by neuroweapons and external microwave attacks. I actually, like last night I kind of had this realization. You know, about 8 years ago, I knew that I was being overtly targeted. Like, I got the high-pitched sound, and then the V2K came like 2 months after I got the high-pitched sound and realized that I was targeted. And I didn't even know it was V2K at the time. I thought it was my neighbors upstairs that I could just hear for some reason. Like, I thought my hearing was just very good or something. You just, it's hard to understand what's happening when the stuff starts happening to you. But last night I like kind of just, I was like walking into the kitchen. I go, I have not relaxed in 8 years. Like, I have not, you know, when you like literally you relax and you're not thinking, like maybe right before you go to sleep or something like that. I have not actually cleared my mind and relaxed my body in 8 years, because the V2K is always going. It's a constant fight. So that's one thing that I'm really gonna work on, is finding some way to get into a meditative state and relax. It's very, very, very hard with the audible V2K. And I actually, for a couple of minutes, that's why I realized it last night, because I was like laying on the leather chair. I was still being hit and the V2K was going on, but I did hit this kind of little pocket of relaxation where I was like kind of half asleep and half awake, but I felt a little bit comfortable. I felt like my body was forcing itself to relax, and I just realized, man, I haven't relaxed in like 8 years. I've maybe had little, like a couple of minutes or maybe 2 hours every now and then along the last 8 years where I've really relaxed. And that is horrible. I mean, it's turned me into like, okay, I got to do this. My brain's always going. My brain's always going. And I remember like before I knew I was targeted, and when I go to sleep, it would be so comfortable. And I'd just be thinking about what had happened during the week, and it was great. And it was like I looked forward to laying down to go to sleep because it was so relaxing and peaceful. And I forgot what that is like. I forgot. But let me get back on track. Let me get back on track. But I do want to kind of just slow down and go through this information. I get a little bit like wired, and I have to adrenalize. I was like earlier tonight, I was trying to get my adrenaline pumped up. And that's something I want to talk about after this, because I think I'm going to get back on Drenamine, you know, to help my endocrine system. And that really helped when I was taking Drenamine. Let me go down to, let me see if I can find it in here. Oh, that's my bathroom. Yeah, the guy does something in his bathroom, and it creates this like, it creates that kind of like water flowing sound in my toilet. So I don't know what he's doing over there, but he does something over on his side, and then it creates this kind of like sound every once in a while. And that's kind of how they do the noise campaign, because my toilet's like totally off. It's not flowing, it's not running or anything like that. But since our plumbing's connected, he's got some kind of noise, like noise campaign protocol, which is really retarded. Let's see, U.S. Army Mind Control. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it, guys. It's a really good quote, though, and it comes directly from the Aspen Institute on Department of Homeland Security. I should have had that ready. Let's see. I might save that. I might do that on another video. Let's see, maybe I can. I'm going to look a little bit more. I've read it on another video. It's from A Circle of Snakes by, I think, Bobby Tower. And it's a quote that says basically that the Department of Homeland Security is basically going to start targeting, which it is, it's targeting individual citizens as like counterterrorism. But it's really, you know, they call it like counterterrorism and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, we see it for what it is, because we're innocent citizens being, you know, hit with microwaves, neuroweapons, and gang stalked. So it's targeting of citizens, domestic terrorism on such a massive scale. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. I'm spending too much time trying to find this. He's got a lot of quotes on this website. This is a very good website. And he's actually now, so it's like Romola, it was like a panel today with him, with Dr. Eric Karlstrom, with Romola, with Dr. Millicent Black, and Karen Stewart. I watched the beginning of it, and it's, you know, it's some really, really good information. They're really trying to figure out, you know, what we need to do legally. I think we've been trying to figure that out for a while. But those are some very, very smart people trying to figure it out. I'm going to probably watch it after this. Okay, I think I'm going to stop looking for this, guys, because I might have passed it up. Okay, yeah, I'll try and put it on another video. I've shown it on some of my previous videos, the quote. But just to know that the Aspen Institute for Department of Homeland Security is like very, very essential in making policy for DHS fusion centers and our targeting for gang stalking. For I'm not sure if yeah, well, you know, I could probably conjecture that they are pretty essential in figuring out policy with the neuro weapons too, with actually people getting hit with directed energy weapons also. But that might not be the case. That might be, you know, the private contractors and further up may be responsible for that. And then, but I'm sure that you know, DHS policy institutes know that experimentation and that torture is hand in hand, you know, with gang stalking in our harassment. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish that video. I'll maybe try and find that later. I got a lot of information I want to go through.
Dollars from consulting companies that deal with the U.S. government. Are we clear? Well, I will be clear in saying that everybody in Washington, D.C. knows if you don't want to be honest about it, that's on you. But if you have a security clearance and you keep it, you get more money to have it. Get out.
Get out.
Phil,
He told him to get out.
Right here. Don't be so defensive about this. Get out. Don't be so defensive about this. Your voice is still here. You can still do whatever you want. But the politicalization of the intelligence community under this administration, with the people coming on here every day tweeting and talking about this administration, you all have made it about politics, not the president.
Let's take a beat here for a second. And Phil, I appreciate your patience because I know it's getting personal here. First, I do a point of fact here. Right. And Phil makes a point, which is a point of fact. When a Phil Mudd, who serves on an advisory board for counterterror threats, goes and participates in conversations in the agency about those threats, he's not getting paid for that.
With Phil Mudd sidelined with a strained clitoris, CNN's neutral moderator gets subbed in to take over the talking points. Please nobody notice, and Paris the Nerd pointed this out immediately, that he clings like a dingleberry to the weird and nonsensical talking point of not getting paid for government advisory positions, despite the fact that no one in the history of everywhere and forever is even remotely attempting to make that argument.
When Phil McGraven is consulted on counterterror operations because he led dozens of missions, deadly missions, where soldiers risk their lives, he's not paid for that. And what you seem to be doing here is people have jobs outside of government after they leave government, that therefore you're saying that is justification to take away their clearances when government and agencies rely on them for their counsel. Is that true?
He's like,
no. What I'm arguing, Jim, is that, and I appreciate every one of those persons' service, and I know how important everyone in the intelligence community, serving currently and the past, are in the role that they play for this country. But what I'm talking about is the private sector. Let's not act like all these men and women sit at home all day and just consult with the federal government and don't earn a living. Everybody knows, Jim, that a part of keeping your clearance means you get more money for having the clearance. When you consult and when you have contracts with other companies and when you set up your own firms, this is what happens.
Phil, he's making an argument there.
Help!
And you make your point on what you do for government. What's your response to Paris's argument here?
Well, we got 24 hours. I got a simple suggestion. Go to the original 15 signatories of the letter yesterday and ask how much income by a percentage they make from their security clearances. Mine, 0.
Nope. That's it for today.
Nope.
If you enjoyed this,
I want to play that part again.
Share and subscribe, and if you look
to Paris's argument here.
Well, we got 24 hours. I got a simple suggestion. Go to the original 15 signatories of the letter yesterday and ask how much income by a percentage they make from their security clearances. Mine, 0.
Nope. That's it for today.
Nope. So that guy's channel, guys, it's John Ward. Just JOHN and then space Ward, WARD. Really funny stuff. And he's some alternative news that really, talks about the deep state and just talks about how kind of insane the left is getting or has gotten, and that this push for communism is insane. But even even these alternative news sites, and they've totally demonetized him. This video will maybe be demonetized, but also it may actually, they may actually, I don't know, hide me. I don't know. I probably just demonetized, hopefully, but just for playing his videos, because he was completely demonetized. You know, he just talks and uses some kind of blatant words. Is that a kind of a diplomatic way to say that? But I really think that that's important, that when we speak, you know, in this PC culture, is also another psyop. So people feel like they can't talk about certain things. And I really agree with Dr. Horton that using cuss words and the like, you know, some people may not feel like doing it, but some people may feel like they have that role to you know, shock people out of their learned helplessness, out of the psyop of a PC culture. So I really like these channels that try and do that, and they're going towards the truth. They don't know about, you know, directed energy weapon attacks and how bad it is, but they go to a certain layer that mainstream media is not even going to go to. So it's at least getting us part of the way. That's kind of what I see. I had this thought last night, and I'm gonna go to some more information after this. I was thinking last night, you know how like all this corruption in our society is kind of set up in a pyramidal structure. So at the top of the pyramid, you have, you know, these wealthy families with all the money, the control of the technology, control of basically intelligence groups and military industrial complexes of company, because they're calling the shots. They have control of the Federal Reserve and stuff like that. So it's in a pyramidal structure. But then I was thinking about it. It's almost like a pyramidal structure, but then there's a reflection of it. There's a reflection of it, and there's different layers of people getting truth out about it. So maybe at the bottom layer in that reflection, you have the mainstream media that's getting out not very truthful information. But then as you go farther up that pyramid, you get more and more truth. And then you got a lot of alternative media that's a couple of levels down, or maybe one level down in the mirror image of that pyramid. And I would say, like, people like us who are really in the know about the really horrific things that if American citizens knew about, if citizens in other countries knew about it, I mean, we'd all be in the streets by tomorrow. And, you know, we should be in the streets every day, but it's just impossible. You know, we're getting hit so hard. We've got to make money. We've got to survive. So it's impossible to go protest every day. You know, shortly that could change, and people go protest all the time. But I feel like we're kind of in the I don't know if y'all are understanding what I'm saying, because it's kind of a very metaphorical concept. But oh gosh, my brain just went blank. But like the reflection of that evil pyramid, there's a good pyramid of people trying to get out the truth, and I think we're very close to the top of that pyramid of understanding how it all fits together and how bad it is, you know, and how bad it is. Okay, so I wanted to show that at the beginning, guys, because I know that some people, you know, they don't watch all the way through my live streams. You guys that come to the live streams, you know, watch it all, but I wanted to put that information I thought that was most important in this video kind of up front. And so now I want to go to those articles that I didn't get to at the beginning of the week and go through them. And I wanted to mention I was really searching for any kind of recent information on the Cuban embassy attacks, or current information on you know, the China consulate attacks, and it to my dismay, and I thought differently. You know, I thought that it would just be a continuous story, and until there was closure to it, there would be mainstream media news stories on it, and people would not be satisfied. A lot of targeted individuals said differently, and I think they were right. You know, sadly, I think they were right that story went on for a long time and no closure to it. And the Senate investigation committee made a couple of recommendations, but didn't really give closure on those incidents. And now it's like the most recent thing that I see on the Cuban embassy attacks comes from like September of 2018. So I haven't seen any recent news stories on the Cuban embassy attacks or the China consulate attacks. If you guys, like, I may have just not been looking, I may have just been not looking detailedly enough, which is not a word. I think it's another word that I just made up, detailedly. But I'm trying to get these words out of my mouth hole. You know, if you guys do find anything that's like, you know, 2019 or, you know, late into 2018 that were stories about the Senate Investigative Committee or anything about the China consulate or Cuban embassy attacks or the University of Pennsylvania, you know, what they found out about the embassy workers who were hit by these remote microwave weapons, please let me know. Please email me. I am still having a hard time keeping up with everything in email, but I am answering people back. And if you have, and just on a general thing, like just on a general point, if you've got information that you're like, and I say this a lot, but seriously, guys, if you have information that you're like, nobody's talking about this, and this shines a very specific light on something that all targeted individuals need to know about, and it's going to help non-targeted individuals to understand what's happening, please send that to me in email. I mean, make a video yourself, you know, if you want, if you feel comfortable with that, if that's your thing, you know, do that, and I'll, you know, try and, you know, send me like, hey, I made a video about this. Can you put something like this on your live stream or show my video? I'll do that. But if you don't feel comfortable, if you're not making videos right now, and you do have some important information, important links, recent information on those incidents, but just in general, important information that you have, you know, email me. Try and get on a live stream and be like, hey, Kyle, look, I want you to do a video about this. And I do have some people that have contacted me and they want me to talk about their testimonies and what happened to them. I'm going to try and get to that. But, you know, I'd rather have them on for like an interview or something like that. And I'm not sure that's the way I'm going to go just right now. I still have a lot of information that I want to unpack and just keep putting out concrete information. I feel like that's really what I have the energy for right now, and it's kind of what I'm comfortable with. But who knows, you know, who knows in the next couple of months, you know, what direction I'm going to go in, what direction we're all going to go in. There's so much information, you know, coming out about this stuff. So this article is from military.com, Defense Tech News, military.com. It's a huge online publication. It's not really an alternative media site. It's really a mainstream publication. You know, that the Department of Defense has a lot of these online publications where they're just talking about this stuff. You know, they're just talking about it and putting it out. But the mainstream media that everybody sees and doesn't have to search for never really clings on to any of this really important information. So I'm going to go through this article, and this is an old article. This is from 2006, February 14th, Valentine's Day, 2006, where they're talking about Moscow's remote-controlled heart attacks. This is the second of David Hambling's two-part series on plasma and electromagnetic weapons. Check out part 1 here, and we might check that out after I read this. So the American military may want to, and so I'm off of the, I mean, all this kind of goes together, you know, the deep state and how, you know, these private security industries even have propaganda arms. They're even working as propaganda arms for agencies that are connected to the government, you know, with black budgets and things like that, like the DOD and the Pentagon and the CIA. So now I'm kind of going more into the weapons, but I did want to say it. But it all fits in together. You know, the propaganda goes along with the with targeting of citizens, goes along with the weapons targeting of systems, and the experimentation done on us with neuroweapons, the experimentation on how to disrupt us as individuals, disrupt our activities, disrupt our lives, but also disrupt the groups that people are in, not only just our directly connected group of targeted citizens, targeted individuals trying to get some kind of forward movement with every citizen knowing about this so we can stop it because it's a crime, maybe the biggest crime perpetrated in the history of the world. You know, so and I forgot where I was going with that. My brain blanked out. Okay, so let me go ahead with reading this article. The American military may want to attack the nervous system with pain rays and laser plasma pulses, but they're not the only ones. The Russians have long studied such systems too, including one weapon that could, in theory, remotely trigger heart attacks. In 2003, at the Second European Symposium on Non-Lethal Weapons, Anatoly Korolev and his colleagues from Moscow State University presented a paper with the snappy title, Bioelectrodynamic Criterion of the NLW Effectiveness Estimation and the Interaction Mechanisms of the Multilayer Skin Tissues with Electromagnetic Radiation. Say that 10 times fast. This is a study of how radio frequency weapons like the American Active Denial System affect the skin. After wading through a mass of technical data showing how complex the interactions are, we reached the punchline, and it really probably is a punchline because everything in our fucking world today seems to be like one big punchline, right? Of a very dark joke that is not funny, but you have to laugh or you'll go insane, right? So this is the punchline. I was joking with somebody. I talked to Linda Costanza. We haven't talked for a while, and I talked to her yesterday. Like, we talked for like 4 hours because we haven't talked in a while. And I was just telling her, like, I'm like, man, my attackers are going to turn me into the Joker. And I don't mean anything like, you know how the Joker's really violent. I don't mean like that. But you know how he's like, you know, the world is a joke, you know, everything's a freaking joke. Everything's so corrupt and people don't really know the truth about anything. I just thought I'd throw that in. I don't think it's going to happen. But sometimes I feel that way. Sometimes I'm like, man, everything's a freaking joke. It's so dark. Don't really know why I added that in. I think it's just, I wanted to say I talked to Linda Costanza. She's going to be, I know a lot of you guys go to the conference calls, and she kind of put her call on hiatus because she was getting targeted so bad. But she's gonna be restarting her call soon, so that's an awesome thing. And she is such a strong woman. She's like my TI mom. You know, I have a regular mom who I love, and Linda Costanza is kind of like my TI mom. Okay, or TI older sister, or whatever, you know. After wading through a mass of technical data showing how complex the interactions are, we reached the punchline. The sensations modality, pricking, touch, pressure, goose flesh, touch, burning, pain, etc., depends on the field parameters and individual concrete human being factors. As a matter of fact, we can really choose the non-lethal bioeffect. The effects include sensations similar to those discussed previously and more besides. The paper discusses effects on cell membranes and affecting the body's normal function, including information transfer to the organs of control. So, you know, information transfer to the organs of control, your body, information transfer in your body is carried out by electromagnetic signals in your brain, creating signals to your nervous system that then go to your organs like your heart, your lungs, you know, pain centers, things like that, your endocrine system. So information transfer to the organs of control. At the same conference, V. Makukin of the Trimus Engineering Center in Moscow described electronic equipment for complex influence on biological objects. Electronic equipment for complex influence on biological objects. And when he says biological objects, he means you and me. And I think we all recognize that with the quotation. His laboratory apparatus uses a modulated beam of radio waves to produce what he terms disorder of autonomic nervous system. Yeah, I'd say that's like one of the biggest things that, you know, besides like the actual remote neural manipulation to my brain, disorder of autonomic nervous system, like what my attackers do to my nervous system, and just make it feel like it's being unraveled. Like like I have no adrenaline left. Like my muscles and the nerves around them are fried. That's one of the like biggest pains. It's hard to have a number one thing that really sucks that they do to us, but that's a big thing, just disrupting the nervous system, disorder of the nervous system, messing with our nervous system. That's how you feel everything. I mean, that's how you feel comfortable, or feel pain the right way, or get strong because you have nerves around your muscles. It all has to do with the nervous system and signals going to it. Put forward, let's see, wait, where was I? Put forward as a possible non-lethal weapon. McCoonan notes that there is no general agreement on how EM waves disrupt nerves. He mentions ion channels similar to those in the plasma paper, but he certainly seems to be seeing the same effects as American researchers. But it need not be a non-lethal weapon. McCoonan also mentions the effects of change of electrocardiogram and what he calls function break of heart muscle. The vulnerability of the heart to electrical stimulation, including that produced by EM waves, is well documented. A lethal device would interfere with the electrical potentials that keep the chambers of the heart synchronized, producing fibrillation and rapid death. A death ray doesn't need to be a truck-sized laser that reduces the target to a smoking heap. A small device that stops the heart will do the job. Little has been openly published in this area in the public domain, but this may be the tip of the iceberg. We are likely to hear more in the future, especially if the Russians manage to find funding. I don't think we need tinfoil hats just yet. Well, you'd be wrong about that. We actually do need tinfoil hats, and we need other defenses against these directed energy weapons, because every country has some kind of neuroweapons, remote directed energy weapons program where they're, randomly targeting citizens forever and ever until we stop them and, somehow stop them, get some court cases, get out in the streets, do what we have to do. But a layer of conducting mesh built into body armor might save a lot of heartache in years to come. Now that's interesting. And we know that probably naval intelligence and some of those agencies probably have something that can really, really block many of these frequencies. Probably can block them 100%, because we know that the military-industrial complexes of every country, they don't create diseases unless they have the cure. Now, are they going to give that to us? No, they're going to hide it. That's going to be national security. They don't want people to know about these weapons, much less be able to defend with them if they're hit by them. If you want more, there's a whole chapter on different non-lethal directed energy weapons and where the technology might lead in my book, Weapons Grade. So I think that's David Hambling, and he has a book, Weapons Grade. But we know that it's gone a lot further than what this article states. And, my attackers mess with my heart. Dave Case's CD does help a lot in that, because it signals to the brain. They get in resonance with with the resonance that our brain's going at, sending signals to the brain that sends signals to the nervous system. And then there's nerve signals around your heart that your brain sends signals to, and then they can manipulate and cause you to feel like you're having a heart attack. And I really think that, like, if my attackers, like if their manager or whoever's over them said you can go ahead and kill him, they could probably still give me a heart attack in a night. I don't think in my case they're allowed to, and I think in a lot of our cases they aren't allowed to, because there's so much money in the research and experimentation around us. And these contractors have picked us as targets for not only experimenting to advance the weapons, but also to learn about certain personalities, learn about the people around us and how we interact when we're being hit with the weapons, what our choices are going to be, our beliefs, a lot more than that. And we've all talked about that. But and then I totally blanked out after that. I'm not sure what point I wanted to make, but we know it's gone further. And you also see, you know, you see Brian Two's videos where they're attacking his heart all the time. You know, he's like, my heart, you know, and a lot of other TIs too, they attack the heart. I have to say, I just have to say, like Dave Casey, before I started listening to that, my attackers had gotten to a point where it felt like I was having a heart attack. And I've told y'all, I've told you guys this a lot of times, but it felt like somebody was like literally with their hands squeezing my heart. And I like fall down on my knees and I had trouble breathing because it felt like somebody was like stopping my heart. So they did do that to me. It seems a lot better. Like they can kind of make me feel like my chest feel kind of tight, but it's never to that degree of like, oh my gosh, am I gonna die? Like, because I've had those periods. Now it's more like I'm so tired and I feel like I can't think. And then Dave Case's CD keeps the really, really, it seems like it holds off the really, really bad stuff where I used to be like, am I gonna die right now? I'm just throwing that in there. Okay, guys, so I wanted to go through that article. Let's check out part 1. See what that's all about. And it does not have the page. Let's just look in military.com. Go on military.com and let's just put let's say neuroweapons first. I don't know if we'll find much, and then we'll put in directed energy weapons. No, but I bet you they do have a bunch of article on directed energy weapons. No, yes. Okay, wait, and hold on a second. Stop sharing my screen for a second. Make sure you guys can hear. Yeah, y'all can hear me because y'all heard that song I played at the beginning, right? So you guys in chat can hear me, huh? I just don't want to be sitting here like talking. Yeah, Future Knowledge says that they change my heart rate all the time. And hey, Future Knowledge. Hey, Pilgrim's Progress. Hey, Seldridge. Walker. Hey, Autumn. I subscribed to your channel, and there was somebody on there, like I think you were mirroring their video, and I thought that it was actually you, but I liked that video, like I liked it onto my channel, and I think it's actually somebody called like Lonely Soul, but that actually, like I could not sleep after I saw that video. Like, because I know that like we're all feeling so much pain. There's so many beautiful people being attacked by this, but it was like, I don't think it's you. I think because you put in the comments, you put this, thanks Lonely Soul for this, and I think it's a TI. It was a TI from like Sweden, and she had like she had the kind of whiskers painted on her face. She's very artistic, just a very sweet person. You could tell like she had a really good soul. And I cried watching that, and then I couldn't sleep the rest of the night. And I thought it was you. I thought that was you. And I was like, oh my God, I haven't seen Autumn in a while. And it looked like, yes, Eldridge, it's me, Vulcan Wolverine, your boy. Hey, thank you. Is that Laura? I like you talking, nice rhythm. Is that you, Laura? L-Ann? Yeah, but I saw that. I think I'm going to play that on one of my next videos because she made a good point that it's good to see you too, Pilgrim's Progress. Thanks for coming, guys. Hey, Laura, I heard the awful news. I meant to come to your show. Laura has a call. She has a conference call on Monday nights. I'm not sure if you have another night. And I want to go ahead, Laura, and make you a moderator on my call. So I'm going to make you moderator real quick. Okay. There we go. So, and you know, Laura, just the moderators, just if anybody comes in and is like, you know, being mean to people or calling us crazy or something like that, you know, get them out of here. Usually you guys do a great job. I don't even have to deal with it. Thank you, Seldridge. I'm trying, like, I look okay. I was really trying to get my adrenaline up because I was like, I really want to make a video. And I went to Little Caesars and got one of the $5 pizzas. Got a $5 pizza, and then I got, which this is something, it's not like important for our targeting or anything like that, but this is Nas. It's sour apple Nas, and it's so good. This is so. I bought 2 of them tonight. It's not, and you notice it's not Mountain Dew. I don't no cabal signaling. I was looking for something other than red. But yeah, I went out and I was like, I'm gonna do it tonight. I got a Source Play at 65. I got a ready-made pepperoni pizza at Little Caesars, and it was one of the fresh ones that he had just made. And I was like eating. I was like, I'm gonna make a video. I'm gonna get some information out. Okay, yeah. So Autumn, Kyle, yes, Lonely Soul from Switzerland. Yeah. Okay, Autumn, are you a female? Are you a girl? Or are you a guy? I thought you were a girl too, huh? Sometimes I can't tell, guys. I can just tell by kind of how somebody talks. Kyle, please check out the link about Dr. Giadorna. Okay, we'll go through that in this live stream, Autumn. I'll go ahead and click on it. Let's see. I'm having trouble thinking right now. Hold on. I'm gonna click on that link and see. There was something else. Oh, did it replace my page? Did it replace the page with y'all on it? Hold on. Let me go back. Okay, I'm gonna go through that. Hold on, but I still want to see chat. I wish I could just see chat in the main screen. You know, I don't see why I can't see y'all chatting in Google Hangouts. I don't get it. I used to be a technical wizard, man. When I worked at Dell, I was just awesome. I could figure out anything. I couldn't write code, but now it's like I'm so tired. I have a hard time even just like speaking sometimes. Oh, War on the Saints is doing a live stream right now. I haven't seen him in a while. I was worried about him. I was very worried, and I hadn't seen him in like a week and a half. I'm glad he's doing a live stream. Let me go to. A lot of people are making videos today. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. I can feel people getting information out and trying to help. It's awesome. And it's not, you know, going through this isn't awesome. Okay, so got the chat back, and then we'll look at that. I'll share my screen, and we'll check that. We'll check a little bit of that out. It's an hour, but okay, we'll just show the video. Look, let me share my screen, and we'll show that video that Autumn shared in chat. Share my little screen here. My room's a mess, but at least I covered up some of the aluminum foil. Okay, so this is the link that, so this guy is Shad Budge Productions, and I'm subscribed to him. Wow, and I didn't see this. So Neurospecific Human Rights Bill, the Global Neuroethics Conference 2019. Okay, wow. So is this something that is, where is it happening? Well, let's find out. Let's listen to a little bit of it. We're not going to listen to the whole thing, obviously, because it's like an hour. But let's see.
Shad Budge, I'm a human rights activist, a member of bioethics, neuroethics, and human rights societies and organizations. This is an informational video on the Global Neuroethics Conference that is being organized by a number of my colleagues as well as myself, and will be taking place on the 25th of May.
Okay, I know y'all can't hear that. It says it's going to be taking place on the 25th of May. So let me put that link in chat. Well, okay, Autumn already put the link in chat for this video. It seems like he's saying it's going to happen on the 25th of May, Neurospecific Human Rights Bill and a Global Neuroethics Conference 2019. And I guess this guy and some of his the people working with him are going to put this thing together. I need to watch this whole thing. I think we all do.
Check out the links below in the description for our websites, as well as like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, to share this video on social media platforms to help spread awareness. Our goal is to host a global neuroethics conference that will educate the general populace on the current exponential growth regarding the fields of neuroscience and neurotechnology.
Yeah, he looks like a young Donald Sutherland, don't y'all think? I'm gonna go to that I'm gonna go to the website and get the information. He really looks like a young Donald Sutherland. Okay, let's go to his link here. globalneuroethics.com. Because I don't think y'all can hear it on my computer. I'm gonna put that in there. We are gonna read about this. I'm gonna go to that. Where is it? So Global Neuroethics Conferences in Canada. So everybody get this, www.globalneuroethics.com. Global Neuroethics Conference 2019 in Banff, Alberta, Canada on May 25th. And let's read their goals. This is awesome, Autumn. I need to go to Canada anyway. I need to go to Canada to visit my friend Ken. He's like the first targeted individual I talked to. And he's from Canada. He's still up there. He thinks he has a stemoceiver actually in like up his nose from when he was a kid. He doesn't think. He's actually got some very documented proof. Okay, so let's read their goals here. This is awesome. Our goals. Our goal is to host a global neuroethics conference that will educate the general populace on the current exponential growth. That's right, exponential growth regarding the fields of neuroscience and neurotechnology, while simultaneously elaborating on the need for new neurospecific human rights. This will be a community-funded event relying solely on donations, sponsorship contributions, and fundraising campaigns. Lectures will be provided by a number of very distinguished speakers who have dedicated their lives to the fields of neuroscience, neuroethics, and human rights. There will also be a segment during the conference which will allow the victims of human rights violations in the neurological field to give brief 4-minute testimonials to the audience. A panel of legal experts, neuroscientists, technology developers, neuroethicists, and human rights activists has been formed and will continue accepting membership applications until the 15th of June. This panel has created a rough draft of the neurospecific human rights bill, which will be distributed to all conference attendees. Discussion regarding the current state of the bill is highly encouraged as it will be presented to Legislative Assembly later in the year. All suggestions regarding any potential revisions to the bill will be acknowledged, reviewed, and deliberated by the panel. This conference will be covered by multiple media outlets, and the representatives from all 4 major political parties will be invited. That is awesome. See if they have any, I guess we could read more. So guys, go to this video. It seems like he talks about it more. I'm going to watch it. That is all. I think this kind of stuff, and I don't know if it's less or more than, going out and protesting, but I really feel like this kind of stuff, like what Alice in Ireland did, the Unity and Hope Conference, I think these things are just so smart. This is where we're going to make the biggest breakthroughs, because you can have these huge like this bioethics I don't know, what are they calling it? They're calling it these conferences basically, and get video from it, get expert speakers and things like that. I think this is like where it's at right now. This is where our movement forward is at. So this is awesome, Autumn. So let's go ahead, neurospecific human rights. Just read, well, let's go to speakers. Speakers, Peter R. Bregan, MD, Steve Hoffman, James G. Adorno is going to be speaking, Sam Harris, Philip Zimbardo, Colin Ross, Marcelo Ayenka, Roberto Adorno, and John Hall. Wow, you got an event where John Hall and James G. Adorno are speaking. That is awesome. Let's read this. Neurospecific human rights. The volume and variety of neurotechnology applications is rapidly increasing inside and outside the clinical and research setting. Yes, that is true. The ubiquitous distribution of cheaper, scalable, and easy-to-use neuro applications has the potential of opening unprecedented opportunities at the brain-machine interface level and making neurotechnology intricately embedded in our everyday life. Is this like a positive conference, or is this talking about the dangers of it? Well, let's read more. While this technological trend may generate immense advantage for society at large in terms of clinical benefit, prevention, self-quantification, bias reduction, personalized technology use, marketing analysis, military dominance, national security, and even judicial accuracy, yet its implications for ethics and the law remain largely unexplored. We argue that in the light of the disruptive change that neurotechnology is determining in the digital ecosystem, the normative terrain should be urgently prepared to prevent misuse or unintended negative consequences, which is, it's too late for that. They shouldn't say prevent, they should say the stopping the misuse and unintended negative consequences. But I guess they're trying to be kind of PC about this issue. In addition, given the fundamental character of the neurocognitive dimension, we argue that such normative response should not exclusively focus on tort law, but also on foundational issues at the level of human rights law. This proposal of neuro-specific human rights in response to emerging advancements in neurotechnology is consistent with and a logical continuation of the proposal of developing genetic-specific human rights in response to advancements in genetics and genomics as set out by the Universal Declaration on the Human Genome and Human Rights and the International Declaration of Human Genetic Data. The freedom of thought, that's an awesome thought, freedom of thought. I wish I have a little bit of that. I think we have a little bit of that, but our brains are being raped. So people are trying to take away our freedom of thought. Freedom from slavery, torture, and inhumane or degrading treatment or punishment are regarded by international human rights law as not subject to any exceptions and therefore as absolute rights. Absolute rights cannot be limited for any reason, but they are our absolute natural rights to freedom and to have our own brain where it's not being invasively raped, in our nervous system, our body, when we haven't done anything to be tortured, has been impeded on. No circumstance justifies a qualification or limitation of absolute rights. Absolute rights cannot be suspended or restricted even during a declared state of emergency, which America is in and a lot of other countries have been in a state of war, which the citizens of those countries aren't really aware of. That we're really it's been signed into. We're basically living in a certain kind of martial law, where our agencies in the military-industrial complex can do things that they wouldn't normally be able to do in peacetime, in quotations, peacetime, because I don't think peacetime exists in the world anywhere anymore. The right to cognitive liberty, the right to mental privacy, the right to mental integrity, and the right to psychological continuity should also be considered as absolute rights. This is really cool, Autumn. Thank you. Thank you for bringing this link into the chat. And everybody check out that YouTube video. I'm going to go to it again so y'all can see it. Neuro-Specific Human Rights Bill, the Global Neuroethics Conference 2019 in Banff, Alberta, Canada, May 25th. Let's see if they say where it's going to be held. Oh, we can go up to venue. Hold on. Nothing was your own except the few cubic centimeters inside your skull. George Orwell, 1984. Nothing was your own. Okay, so this is really cool, guys. Yeah, I think these are going to be the events and the conferences and things that really get people really aware about this. I mean, protests are good, YouTube videos are good, anything getting this information out is good. But I like this this angle, getting experts and doctors to come and talk about it and then taking what happened at the conference and putting that out all over social media and alternative media. And then, you know, by a miracle from God, you know, if they're inviting a lot of mainstream media, the mainstream media can pick up on this, you know. I think they're ordered not to pick up on this kind of stuff, but miracles do happen. So the venue is going to be the Rimrock Resort Hotel. So okay, guys, so you can find out all the information. Ooh, that looks nice. They're going to have like dinner and stuff like that. You can become a sponsor if you are a business. You can become a sponsor of this. Donate. You can donate on this website. It's going to be held at the Rimrock Resort Hotel. So come to this website, guys, globalneuroethics.com, and check this out. I'm going to be looking into it more. That's awesome. That is awesome. I can't believe Giordano and John Hall are going to be speaking at it. That's amazing. And, you know, that's great because if Dr. Giordano, I mean, Dr. Giordano already knows about us. He already knows that people are being experimented on. But, you know, if a lot of targeted individuals from Canada, and, you know, I hope a lot can get there from America. May 25th, March, April, May, I might be able to get there. I don't have a lot of money, but that would be great to go and meet him. And if a lot of targeted individuals go to this and can meet Dr. Giordano and tell him about their situations, and they're going to be speaking, ooh, that's going to be awesome. That's going to be awesome if Dr. Giordano is there the day that all these targeted individuals and people being experimented on are giving their 4 minutes of testimony. And it's going to be right in his face. And maybe he can like help us a little bit more. Maybe, I don't know, in some ways, like when he talks and he's a neuroethicist, I think that maybe he is trying to help. Maybe he has very little power. He's an advisor to the Pentagon, but he really can't stop it. But he wouldn't have done it this way himself. Sometimes I think that, but I think he's still participating in it anyway, which is horribly unethical. But I don't know. I'd like to talk to him about what he thinks about this before I make a judgment, you know, on him. That's why I kind of flip-flop on him. I'm like, oh man, he's a bastard. You know, he's working in these programs, but then I'm like, well, maybe he can't really do anything. And it's kind of like Robert Duncan a little bit, where he was involved in the research, but then it turned into this, and he had no real input on where it went. And so he talks about it to try and bring it out into the public. I don't know that. I guess I don't want to go into that right now. Okay, well, that's awesome. That is very awesome. So I'm going to stop sharing screen, go back to the chat room. Targeted individuals can attend the conference. Yeah, I'm sure they can, because they're going to be giving testimonies, Autumn. It says that they can give 4-minute testimonies, people who are having neuroweapons used on them. Thank you so much, Autumn. You are awesome. Hey, Chapui Zonta. Chapui Zonta says, how they are stripping my memories 24 hours a day and showing them like a movie. They call torture a movie. Yeah. Yeah. That my attackers really messed with my memory a lot. You know, I just, you know, I use the grounding, and then Dave Case's CD. They still interject visuals into my visual cortex. It just sucks. It sucks. Do you use Dave Case's CD, Chapui Zonta? I'm going to be trying. I'm going to be trying some more things, some more defensive techniques. Because, like I always tell you guys, I'm like, if you ever get to a point where something is unbearable, like the targeting is unbearable, and I used to the physical part of the targeting was unbearable to me, but then I worked on defenses like my Faraday bunker, Dave Case CD, grounding, some other things. Yeah. Okay, so you do. So Chapuisante, you do play his CD, and it's still, yeah, it doesn't fix it all. It doesn't just make it go away. It doesn't just make the targeting go away. But it does help. It helps to reduce it because it's a bidirectional stream of energy, almost like information goes along these electromagnetic signals. And just like your cell phone is getting information, that's not exactly how it works with us, but that's pretty much the idea. And that CD cuts into that bidirectional stream. That it's a biorelevant feedback loop that the electromagnetic attacks, the neuroweapons, are causing in our brains, that they're able to put imagery and stuff like that. Oh man, this stuff really sucks. Sound can amplify their thoughts on that broadcast. Yeah. I'd say pleasing music, a lot of, like when I was talking earlier about like I can't really calm down ever. I'm always thinking the V2K is going right now. The woman just said, "We don't have to do this," and the guy says, "Who fucking cares?" The guy just said, "He is fucking crazy." See, it's like it's at a level right now where it sounds like it's coming from that wall, and I have to really pay attention. Okay, the woman just said, "Yeah, it's over." Like it's over, like she's gonna stop or something. And she just says that all the time. It could just be the chatterbox, like the automated chatterbox. So source play is 65. You say Dave CD is designed to scramble your natural vibration bad. No, I disagree. Source play is 65. It's actually allowing your own body's natural vibration to keep control. Because all that it's doing, all that Dave Case's CD is doing is confusing their systems. It's basically, they're hooking up a radio receiver signal from where even if they're using over-the-horizon radar, satellite to microwave tower, drone to microwave tower to us, to whatever, a microchip, or just just your brainwave, or the nanotechnology, nanoparticulates that pass the blood-brain barrier. They are hooking in, like trying to get that radio receiver as strong as they can. That's why this stuff gets worse and worse and worse if you're not doing anything, because they're hooking in and they're making that radio receiver signal stronger. Now, all Dave Case's CD does is cut that off because it's a similar frequency to what they're using, but it's a similar frequency in where it's not harmful to you. It's annoying. Like I have a hard time listening to sometimes because I'm like, oh, I got to listen to screeching sounds instead of being able to. Source player, you're saying it's a PC program? No. Dave Case's CD, I know the guy who made that CD, and he just took these things and made the frequency, like putting two chips together and like basically like screeching them together. No, Dave Case's CD is in no way harmful. It's annoying to listen to sometimes, but it is no way harmful to your natural frequencies. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the V265 says, no, your V2K is PC. Yeah. Like, I mean, no, I actually, some people, I think their V2K is completely automated. I think it's completely automated chatterbox and nobody's there. But see, with mine, I have shift workers. They're actually putting things in real time sometimes, but they've also, whenever they don't want to be there, they can just take the things they've said, they put it into a chatterbox software so that it makes it sound like a conversation going on all the time. But you're right. It is. I mean, it's software. It's like audio turned into, it has an audio that goes through, what I can't think of it. Basically radio frequency turned into microwave. It's like and I used to know the name for that, but it basically turns in audio to a microwave frequency. And then that's hitting your brain. It's like microwave hearing, or it's going, or it's a signal to the chip. If I have a chip in my jaw, or the nanoparticulates, or but it's microwave hearing that actually will then heat up the brain, and as the brain is cooling, it will send that signal down to your inner ear so that you're hearing audio voices like that. It's probably not the best description of it because I'm having a lot of brain problems tonight. So Seldridge Walker says it's all AI technology. You know, if you listen to James G. Adorno, and I agree, I think that there's some unmanned directed energy remote directed energy weapons, unmanned directed neuro weapons. I think some targeted individuals are getting those systems. But then, I don't know how many is one and how many is the other, but there are actually shift teams on some targeted individuals who manually interact with some of that automated software because they're teaching the AI how to respond to the target, as well as they're learning from the automation. They're learning how to target and torture an individual and what they're seeing. So these human teams learn from the AI learns from the human team. So they still have to have some human teams and shifts because they're also experimenting with the AI learning from a human being. So let me give you an example because it's not all done, it's not all automated. There are actually people on these remote platforms. Let me give you an example. It's a small example. It's not Vulcan, can you, and Seldridge Walker says, Vulcan, can you hear your appliances popping? No, it's like my toilet. It keeps running and it never does that, but it's my neighbor. He does something on the other side because we share those pipes, and he's like either flushing water through his own system. He's got some way to do that. And I don't know if y'all can hear that, but he keeps doing it through this whole video. But let me end with this, guys, because I'm kind of getting tired. I kind of want to play video games. I want to get my digital crack, right? Got to get my digital crack. I got to kind of chill out and just play video games. But that's the example I'm going to give you. Let me give you an example why how I know for certain that there is an actual shift. There are shift workers on this making decisions of how to attack me. Okay, so this is my PlayStation. This is my PlayStation 4 controller. I don't know if y'all can see it. And I'll try and do a video from my phone actually showing it happening. What I worry about though is that when I turn the video on, it's going to stop. They're going to stop doing this technique. But okay, so I play my PlayStation 4, blah, blah, I'm playing my PlayStation 4, no problem, because you see it's all hooked in there. It's got a hard casing, it's got a harder casing. So I played my PlayStation 4 and there's no problem, right? I was playing that for a while, and then I said, oh, well, I want to play these older games on my PS3. So I have a PS4 and a PS3 that I don't play a lot. And I said, I want to play my PS3. And my attackers have been doing this for so long. So I start playing my PS3, right? Start playing my PS3. And then it automatically pauses. Oh, my controller shuts off automatically. And I go, and I don't know if y'all can see this, but I go, huh, what's going on? And I feel this warm heat, like a beam, hitting this connection. It's hitting this connection, and it disconnects the controller. It disconnects the controller. So as I start playing the PS3, they start doing that for a little while. But then at about, that was like at 6 o'clock yesterday or something like that, and they do it a whole lot. They do that a whole lot to me, and I can feel it. I can feel the heat beam hitting the PlayStation 3 controller, and I'm like, I don't even move it around. I just turn the controller back on. But then at about 10 o'clock, that stops. That stops, and they're hitting my jaw again. And I feel the heat. I feel the stream of heat. It's almost like it's probably a different frequency than what they're hitting my PlayStation 3 controller, but they start hitting that. And then I think, oh, they stopped hitting my PS3 controller. My attackers have stopped hitting my PS3 controller. About a minute later, boom, they're turning off the controller again, and then I have to turn the controller on. So by remote neural manipulation, they're like, oh, he's thinking that we've stopped that. Let's go back to that. A lot of these decisions that they make on how to torture me and what to do, and actually some of the things that they say on the V2K, I don't hear all the time, and they will change it at certain time periods, and just how they do this stuff and how they're making the decisions on what to do to annoy me. Think about that. how would an AI figure out, okay, to really annoy this guy because he likes playing video games, the AI would just figure out by itself to hit this controller, to shut the controller off. So I have to keep turning it back on. It keeps interrupting the game. Like it'll pause on its own. Now that's human beings on a shift work who are, working with the automated systems, but they're like, okay, what annoys this guy? What annoys this guy? And that's not all automated. If that was all automated, it wouldn't really work. Like it wouldn't really work yet. AI is not, it just has not increased to that level. Now, scary, a lot of it is very advanced, but the way that I'm being attacked, I'm certain. I am 100% certain that there are shift workers on it. And by what I've studied from Dr. James Giordano, Kyle, okay, so SourcePlaya65 says, Kyle, is there profit in annoying you? Let me explain that. It's stupid. It's a stupid thing for my attackers to keep stopping my game, right? But I've gotten to a point where I ignore the V2K. I use I get external stimuluses and stuff like that. They've got to keep me like, hey, we're here. We're here and we're annoying you. So that some of the things that they do to you are so stupid. They're so stupid and annoying, and they'll keep doing them because it agitates you and it gets you focused on them. And when you're focused on them, when you're focused on these people on the remote platform, the automated systems that are targeting you, it's going to work better because you're focused on what they're doing. So they have to do these little annoying things, and that's part of the research. That's part of the torture, the trauma, the research on how to keep a person kind of locked in. And yes. And so SourcePlaya says shift work. Yes, shift work, because they're not going to have people there 24 hours a day. Like I probably have 3 shifts. I think I have a shift that comes in the morning at about like 6 to 8. And then there's one that comes in like in the afternoon, maybe like 4 or 5 or something like that. And then there's one at like midnight till the morning, like that. Yeah, so Seldridge Walker says, change your habits, screw and Vulcan. Yeah, and you just don't let it annoy you. It's stupid. I'm sitting here, they're cooking my body, they're doing all this remote neural manipulation, and they're stopping the game. That's a very small example of things that they do to attack me. It's a very small, like, oh wow, but I mean I can feel the beam of heat. Like I can feel it. It's like coming in here, and when I block it with my hand, then they start making it come in from this way. And this is remote. There's nobody around me hitting me with weapons. Like, and I know there are cases where there are, okay? But with mine, this is remote. So it's like coming in this way, put my hand and I block it a little bit, and then it'll move over. And then sometimes when they're hitting my body and I can feel those like the microwave beam. I guess that's the best way I can describe it right now. They'll be hitting me like in the groin, and I'll feel it coming in from this way or something like that. And then they'll change it immediately to where it's coming in from behind me, like over my hip. Like it's coming, I don't know if y'all can see this, but it's like coming in from the back at this weird angle because they've been doing it for so long. Now that sounds crazy to some people, but because they're on shift work and they're trying to automate they're trying to make some of these tactics that they do automated, right? Because they're teaching the AI system that is completely automated on some people, but they need some of these situations to be human operators teaching the AI how to annoy a person, how to hurt a person, what to do. The AI is learning from the human operators learning from the AI. And Dr. James Giordano talks about that in brain science from excuse me, in brain science from bench to battlefield. Like he SourcePlaya65, or you're just a funny man, huh? You're not Tom Green, huh? You're not that Tom Green guy, I hope, on your Friday night. I hope you're not whatever, you know. But I wanted to tell you all that example because an AI is not going to even really realize that I switched from a PS4 to a PS3, and they're not going to know, the AI is not going to understand that if they hit if they hit the PS3 controller, it actually works. But if they hit the PS4, they can't turn off my PS4. They can't pause it because the PS3 has an older controller. The human operators have figured out that they can hit it and make the game pause. You see what I'm saying? Like an AI really probably would just be hitting my body, doing things, and it wouldn't be able to figure out that. Also, like when I turn Dave Case's CD on, they'll try and hit Dave Case. They hit a lot of my electronics around me, and they do a lot of things like that. So, you know, I'm not even certain. I can say with 100% certainty, oh, Jeff, hey. Hey, Jeff. Source play is 65. Cool, man. Thanks for coming to my live stream. Yeah, yeah, we've talked, Jeff. I've watched some of those videos. I'll talk to you about that off my live stream. I've watched some of that lady's videos. I don't know, man. If it works for you, if it's helping you out, that's good. But oh man, I'm never on Facebook, dude. Yeah, you're gonna have to text me. We'll talk. I'll call you. I'll call you after the live stream. But yeah, on Facebook, I just put up my videos on Facebook, and then I don't even I don't really use Facebook much. I use YouTube, and then I'll put my videos on Facebook, but you really got to text me or email me. Your V2K is gone? Dang, man. I gotta definitely talk to you then. Mine's it's very muted. It's like I have to really pay attention. Like I can hear it as like, you know, audio signals to my inner ear, but it's like if I was sitting here and like going, okay, well, I'm just gonna say what my V2K is saying. It's like I really have to pay attention because it's like this murmuring, and then I you know, because I've stopped paying attention to it. It becomes a lot more muffled and stuff like that if your attention isn't on it. And there's a scientific reason for that. There's a scientific reason for why these weapons don't work as well when your attention is focused elsewhere. External stimulus, or just ignorance of it. There's a very, very scientific reason, but I don't know if I could explain that or, you know, I guess I need to really go through some of those things on my live chats. I also really want to go through, yeah, nobody's saying, yeah, I have to focus to hear. It's there though. It's like annoying, but it's like I have to focus to hear exactly the phrase that they say. Like, okay, so the woman just said, I didn't really hear it, but I could hear because she said it before. So I recognize it. She said, it's evil. She said, it's evil. Like, this is evil. What she's like, she doesn't want to do it because it's evil. That's what she means by that. So there's like the good cop, bad cop. And then right after he said it's evil, then another woman's voice said, I'm done. I'm done. Because they're trying to act like they're faking the woman's voice. Because none of the voices are really these people on it. Like I sometimes watch, but then there's this other woman's voice is like, I'm done. He knows it's not my voice. Because they have this whole setup. It's been going on so long that they try and make it complicated where the guys are using voice modulation so that it sounds like the female, and then the female will act like it's really her, but it's actually probably another guy acting like it's the female going, I'm done, this is stupid. You know, so it's gotten really complicated and psyop as it's gone along. It's very hard to explain. You know, I'd have to take a couple of hours to explain to you how my V2K is like evolved during this, because I've figured things out about, like, you know, for a period of years it was the wife and the husband who lived to me next door. It was not them doing it, but they somehow got their voices from either their phone calls or voluntarily, I don't know, but they were acting like they were them. So I thought it was the people next door. And they were shooting this stuff at me. But then I moved to the condo after the fire happened, and I go, it can't still be those people. Those people moved out of their house. They moved somewhere else. There's no way that they're still doing this. And they were like, okay, well, he knows. And then they changed the voices to another man and woman who kind of had the same paradigm, though. It was a man and a woman. The woman didn't really want to do it. The man really wanted to do it. But it's much more like it could just be all guys. It could be all guys, and one of them could be doing a voice modulation, acting as the woman. I don't think that's the case. I think they actually do have a woman on my shift work and in there, because that's part of my psyop. It's when I react to a woman's voice in a different way than I do a man's voice, and it would have been a lot easier for me. So that I think they actually did get a real woman. I think some things they kind of really do think and just say on there that play into the V2K psyop anyway, the surveillance role play. So they might just be like, you know, I really don't want to do this anymore. This is getting boring. And they might actually really be saying that and really feel that way. And they'll definitely put that in the automated scripting, the automated chatterbox scripting, but they may actually really feel that way, but they just kind of say it. They say it because it sounds more real, and it goes into the V2K psyop anyway, you know. I don't know, that stuff gets really complicated. It's gotten more complicated over the years. Changed voices like 3 or 4 times. They've changed everybody's voices. And I see this guy, you know, I want to give a shout out to him, Kevin Christian on YouTube. I watch some of his videos, and I support any real targeted individual speaking out and trying to tackle this stuff. But he's like, you know, and you know, I'm not trying to jump on him or anything. And you know, I haven't left a comment or anything. I think I left a comment like a long time ago, but he's like, it's my ex-girlfriend, and this guy named Marcus and stuff like that, because his attackers are using voice modification, and they're using people that were in his life, and they're making him think that it's these people that live on the same street as him. But if you think about it, they're not just going to hand out this advanced these neuro weapons and stuff to your ex-girlfriend and some guy she hung out with and maybe did drugs with or something like that. You know. Source player 65. Who's a source player? Kevin Christian. I've looked into that stuff, man. That lady's making a lot of money talking about that. Seems a little bit like a cult, like she kind of made up some stuff. I don't know. I'll talk to you offline about that. It just seems that I don't know, man. I love it for you if it's working for you. That's great, you know. I think you're a great guy. So Seldridge Walker says, yeah, he lived in Jonesboro, Georgia. Vulcan. He's a nice guy. He's a good guy. I mean, I think that we're, you know, and he's trying to work it. He's trying to go at this in the way that he understands and do what he can to fight it. I just think it's a really complicated issue. It's a really complicated issue. I think anybody who's a targeted individual trying to speak out, I'll support them. This is something that we all kind of muddle through sometimes. But that's also, it's, you know, it's why I feel like I can say I'll give you that example and what I think about it and try and use as much common sense and logic as I can. But the stuff that I'm really trying to do right now, and I think we should all try and do, is find documented stuff that they're putting out on it, so that it's not just us guessing. It's not, because this is hard stuff to guess on sometimes. You know, you have that intuition, you have that common sense and logic, but the best thing we can do so that we all have the right information, you know, is find the concrete information that these agencies are putting out themselves. You know, James Giordano is maybe the best resource that I found, saying, look, we're accessing and assessing the human brain. We're trying to, you know, we're weapons of mass disruption. We're trying to disrupt people's activities. We're trying to disrupt their lives. We're trying to disrupt groups. I mean, he's saying it. He's saying the modus operandi of the centerpiece of all this. So I feel like that's like the most important thing we can do now is get concrete evidence. You know, that conference up in Canada is going to be awesome. You know, it could be. Source play is 65. I think he is. I don't know. I don't know if I believe in that stuff the way you do, Jeff. You know, I have my belief systems and my faith in God and faith in Jesus Christ. And hey man, if it works for you, if you got a belief system that makes you stronger and it helps you to help people and stuff like that, you know, more power to you. We're all stumbling through not only this, I mean, not only being a targeted individual and directed energy weapons and neuro weapons, everybody's stumbling through life. Science doesn't know everything. Religion definitely doesn't know everything. You know, there's different. We haven't reached God yet. You know, we haven't reached what that really means and our spiritual connection. You know, there's a science, I think, to the soul, and people say, and I was kind of talking about this with Linda when I talked to her. You know, I've always believed in a soul, and I actually, like when I was a kid, I said, you know, I really want to know. I want to do something in my life where I find out concretely with science about the soul. And it's weird that I'm getting targeted and I'm seeing what's really kind of not the soul. It's our body. It's kind of energy and stuff like that. But there is something else. There's things that science have not reached yet. There's quantum realities. There's spaces in between the atoms that make us up that science hasn't got to. Science has not studied these things that connect us to force in the universe. I mean, I guess I'm getting a little bit Star Wars here, but things that only really our imaginations can reach to right now. And that's why people are grasping for all these different beliefs, but there's a reality to those beliefs that they're reaching for, you know. And I think that's cool. That gives us power here, because what these directed energy weapons and neuro weapons are saying is we can control a human being, because all human beings is meat and energy. They're meat and frequency and energy. And that's not true. There are things past frequency and energy. There's quantum things in between atoms. There's things that science has not figured out that make up the universe, that make us up, that give us power. What did you say? Source play? Star Wars is what it is. Yeah. I do. I like the Star Wars that, you know, use the Force. The Force is, you know, in the universe. It flows in us and around us. I like that idea. So, Pilgrim's Progress, you're a very practical thinker, Vulcan. I pray you find God in the details. I pray you do too. And it's cool, guys, and that's why I think a lot of you guys come to my channel, you know, if you're comfortable with it. I know not everybody can make videos, but, you know, I make these videos and I'm logical and spiritual, and that's who comes and watches my videos. So it's like awesome. It's like we can then talk and, you know, figure out, and I get to hear, you know, what Jeff believes. I get to hear what nobody believes, and it's just like you kind of. That's why it's very important for all kinds of personalities within the targeted individual community, or whatever you want to call it, to speak out, because I may not be relating to somebody who thinks a certain way, like somebody who like loves Dr. Horton and is getting a lot of inspiration from her, is getting fired up by what she says. They may not really, you know, they may just be like, oh yeah, I like Kyle, but I don't really, you know, it's just not really, you know, I don't know, you know, I don't want to say, you know, say anything bad, but he's just not my style, you know, and Dr. Horton is, and that's why all these different personalities have to speak up, because you're going to be speaking to somebody that needs help, and it's going to be like, I get what they're talking about, and it's helping me, you know. So we all have to do that. We totally all have to do that. So nobody says the mind energy is what leaves the body during death, out of body experience. Yeah, and it's, you know, I've been thinking about it a lot lately, how I don't believe that the soul, what connects us to God or what connects us to good in the universe, is necessarily our mind or our body or signals that travel through our nerves or anything like that. But there is a relation. Your mind and your body have to be healthy to reach those things. You know, like if you're really sick and somebody's bashing in your head, it's a lot harder to reach out to what you're supposed to be spiritually. You know, it's not necessarily, they're not mutually exclusive, but they have a lot to do with each other. You know, keeping the mind and body healthy is part of connecting to spiritual things. And I really, I've heard this from a lot of people, and I really believe this. I mean, that's a big reason they're attacking people who are spiritual and creative and can maybe fire that up in other people. You know, fire up that inspiration and that creative thinking in other people. They want to make us very unhealthy and destroy the physical things about our body to suppress spirituality. You know, there's so many angles to this whole what's it called, the military full spectrum dominance. You know, full spectrum dominance. So many angles on what the evil hierarchy, and who I think is up at the top of the hierarchy is like the families with the most money, the families behind the Federal Reserve, the families that actually advise, you know, the CFR and things like that. New World Order. I mean, they're trying to play countries on a chessboard, and they're at the top, and they don't really belong to any countries. They really want to take over the world. Like the people with the most money who have made technology kind of like technology and finance. They've grabbed it up and they control it. They're really trying to make this new world order so that they can actually rule the world. They can rule the world and kill a lot of people off, or control everybody, or do whatever. You know, there's so many agendas with it. You know. Yeah, Seldridge Walker says light workers, Vulcan. Yeah, we are light work. Were you trying to do a Yoda thing, Seldridge? Because that was awesome. Light workers, Vulcan, we are. Train you must, young Skywalker. I know you probably weren't trying to do that, but I was in Star Wars mode. So Pilgrim's Progress says, I believe the soul consists of the mind, will, and emotions, and that it's the connector between our spirit and our body. That's my basic understanding of the three states of being. Our soul has weight. Yeah. Soul consists of the mind, will, and emotions. Yeah, I believe that too. I believe there's a lot of truth in that. But it's like my beliefs, I think that there's something that we're not aware of, that science is not aware of. Even when we're looking at things like scalar waves and quantum realities, like quantum spaces in between atoms, then there's a science past that. The biggest ego trip is that science saying we figured everything out. And that's our biggest strength with these people who are like, well, we can control a person. We can control everything about a person, you know, because a person's just meat and frequencies and things like that. There's something beyond that we reach to. Now, if you hurt the body, if you hurt the mind, you hurt the will, you hurt the emotions, then you're not destroying the connection, the spiritual connection to something that we don't understand, but you're dampening it. Like that person cannot reach what science has not figured out. Can't reach it if you're destroying those things that are important to being connected to those things. The Seldridge says, Yoda, mind what you have learned, save you it will, Vulcan. I like that. All right, guys. Let's see. Pilgrim's Progress says the word for soul in Hebrew also refers to breath, the breath of God. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really awesome. All right, guys, I'm getting my jaw there. My attackers are kind of hitting me in the jaw, so I'm getting a little bit stiff here. Let's see what it says. Nobody says, that's interesting, Kyle. I believe God is unfathomable to our minds because we are like goldfish in a fishbowl trying to find out who feeds us with our simple minds. I think that's a good way to look at it. That's it. We are in a, we're kind of trapped by the way that our mind thinks and the way that our bodies are, and how much we can understand and everything. But we got to remember there's a huge universe out there that we can adapt to. I mean, that's what we've got to really realize in this, guys, that you can really adapt. This is so hard. This stuff is just impossible to deal with, being tortured every day. But if we adapt to something that we didn't even know that we could and keep reaching, you'll actually be able to handle some of the stuff that like I can handle some of this stuff that 5 years ago was just going to drive me insane. It's leveled out. I hate it. I wouldn't live this way, but I'm like, okay, I can still enjoy some things with the V2K. Like it, I don't know if that makes sense, but so Native Neuropterus says, assholes just electrocuted the whole right side of my head, brain, and teeth because I ate ice cream just now. Yeah. That doesn't help a little. Yeah, no, because they can, if your body gets too cold or too hot, they can mess with your nervous system. I'm sorry, Native. I feel so helpless sometimes when you know, when other targeted individuals are just like, I got to call this other targeted individual back. She was just kind of at the edge of her wits end. I don't know, is that the way you say it? And she had tried Dave Case's CD for 2 days, but her attackers had attacked her so hard when she did it that she stopped. And she's been trying to find all this stuff that, you know, and nothing's working for her. She's gone all over the world trying to get away from it. And I'm just like, I feel so helpless. I know I can make videos and try and get this out too. I really love you guys. We're getting through this. That conference is so good. Thank you, Autumn, for bringing that information. And you guys stay strong. I think I'm going to go ahead and end it. You too, Pilgrim's Progress. Hey, I'll go ahead. Make you just add some moderators, just because, you know, guys that are pretty smart, guys and gals that are pretty smart on here. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end this one, guys. But I'll probably do another you know, do another live stream this weekend. I had another article that I wanted to go through, but I didn't quite get to it. And there's probably some other stuff I'm gonna find. Just like Autumn though, like bring stuff to the live streams, and maybe when I'm not looking at the live stream, don't put it up. But like when I come into the live stream, go, hey Kyle, can you go through this? If it's really, because that's super important, and I didn't know anything about that. And there's a lot of targeted individual YouTube videos that like I subscribe to, but then they're not being recommended to me all the time. There's a couple that are recommended to me all the time, but then it's like I'll remember subscribing to a targeted individual, and then it's like I'll go and I'll find their channel a year later, and they've made all these videos that I missed because there's so many people speaking out about this. But all right, guys, I love y'all. Try and just, you know, have as good of a Friday night as you can. You know, Dave Case's CD just helps me so much. I do the passive shielding, you know, cleansing baths, Dremenin. I'm gonna get some more Dremenin for my adrenal system, because if you have adrenaline and your endocrine system's working better, you can kind of push through some of this pain and stuff like that. I wish I'm gonna really be working on that though, because my point was earlier, like I tell you guys, make it a priority. If something's unbearable, then you've got to make it a priority to handle that, and then you can get back to whatever you're doing, activism or getting information out. And I really feel like some of the mental stuff is not, it's affecting me more than I thought. And so I'm really going to be working on that transcranial stimulation, and also like trying to maybe completely block out the V2K. I know that I'm just saying that, and it's going to be a lot harder than just saying I'm going to block it out, but I'm really going to be working on, you know, some individual things. I probably won't say much about those things. I don't want to broadcast it out to too many, because all you guys have attackers on you, and they've all got remote neural monitoring on you. So I don't want to say too much about it. But when I am successful with something, I'll let you guys know. I also wanted to, and I don't know how hard this is going to be, I keep putting tasks in front of myself that I'm just like, I don't have enough energy for that. But I wanted to make some playlists. I have like 1,000 videos, and I can't even go through those and know where the good information is and where the videos where I'm just talking, you know, I'm just talking about this stuff. But I wanted to make some playlists of just defensive stuff, defensive ideas, and then make a playlist, really important documentation. And I think those are the two most important ones that I wanted to do up front. So I think I might be working on that, but I'm gonna have to figure out like how to do all that stuff. But all right, guys, I love y'all. Well, okay, Jeff, you're telling me how to beat V2K. I'm gonna have to talk to you offline. Hey, don't delete Jeff. Don't delete Source Play at 65. He's like one of the first targeted individuals I met. So you guys don't delete his messages. But you guys, you moderators handle it for me. Y'all handle things. All right, guys, I'm getting pretty tired. I'm gonna drink another energy drink and sugar, Hopefully that'll dry my body out so that my attackers can hit me better. I'm going to drink some water tonight too. You got a new phone and you lost my number? You got it. Well, you got to email me, man. Email me because I can't give it over the chat. Yeah, I can't get my number out over the chat. And this is one thing, and I'm not trying to be mean, guys, but like if you email me, like I will give you my phone number if I know you and we talk and we email and stuff like that. But when I give you my number, don't give it out. Like don't just give it out to other people. And it's happened a couple of times. It hasn't caused anything really bad, but I have a very specific reason for that, because if my attackers know that I've handed out my number and that people are just handing out my number to other people, then what they'll do is they'll get people who are not targeted individuals to call me and then say they got my number from somebody. And that hasn't happened much. It's mostly just been people giving my number to people that I wanted to talk to, actually. So it's worked out okay. But I would keep that play that close to the vest. When you are communicating with another targeted individual, email them, exchange numbers. Don't give their number out without asking them. You know, play that close to the vest, because our attackers know. It's like if you know who you gave your number to and that's who you're calling, then your attackers can't manipulate that. And you tell them not to give out your number. Your attackers can't say, well, people are just handing out their number to everybody, so we can get anybody to call and say, hey, I just got your number, because everybody's passing it around, you know. All right. Well, that's what I want to leave y'all with. Just play some things close to the vest. Protect yourself. Protect yourself and get to know people, but don't isolate yourself and not trust anybody, because as I know, because I'm a real target individual, and I wasn't accusing you, Autumn. Did you? I was not accusing you of that. Yeah, no. Wasn't accusing anybody in here, and actually it hasn't been very bad, but that's just, it's a good policy for everybody to keep, I think, so that you can talk to people, you communicate with people, but you play it a little bit close to the vest so that you don't get people you don't know calling you, because there is COINTELPRO. I mean, it's definite, and we've got to try not to be, you know, too justifiably paranoid about stuff, but we need to protect ourselves. Yeah, nobody, send me an email. Autumn, if you want to send me an email, I'll definitely give you my number. Autumn and Nobody, Future Knowledge, Native Neuroethics. If you guys need to talk, because y'all come to all my live streams, I feel like we know each other. But y'all email me, I'll answer y'all's email, and I'll give you my number. I've been kind of, I don't know, I'm trying to get more energy and stuff like that, and I feel like I can talk to you guys. I have enough energy to do that. Yeah, send me an email. I'll send you my number. But just when, you know, don't be just giving it out to anybody. And I'm not, like, if anybody has done that with my number, I'm not like, ooh, I hate you, blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying, please, as a moving forward thing. And I would recommend it, even if you may not understand why you should do that. Trust me, like I got some strategy down about this stuff, and like how our attackers kind of do things, and you probably want to kind of take that policy. But making sure you email somebody, don't go on a conference call and be like, oh, here's my number, you know, because you're going to get people that you never talked to on the conference call calling you, and you have no idea. And you know, don't do that. You know, definitely don't. And I'm not saying anything bad about the conference calls, but there's COINTELPRO everywhere. And I'm not trying to make people paranoid. It's just a reality. It's a reality that we have to deal with. Just got to deal with it. All right, I love you guys. I'm going to go ahead and end. I keep babbling, and I'll come back with some other good information. Thank you guys. Thank you moderators for handling chat. Good to see you too, Jeff. And I'll talk to you soon, man. All right, I love you. I'll see you on the next one.